Yeah, another thing within the Jeff Teper session was around the Office mobile app. The Office mobile app is announced today. It's a new application, mobile application. It will replace the separate Word, Excel and PowerPoint applications. So now you have one application where you can alter your documents in it. So that's a really nice addition where you have one application for it, and if you're searching for a document or something, it really also helps you, okay, what were my last documents where I was using. Those kind of things are introduced also in that application, and also around some other applications. So within Outlook you also have that. And another thing they showed within the Office mobile app was the signing of documents. So if you have a contract or something, you could say, okay, I want to sign this document, and you could just add your autograph in it. So that's really some of the nice additions which they are incorporating into one application. Another thing was around OneDrive within this session, the file sizes which has been expanded. So you could have now 100 gigabytes of files. So that's really huge for within the OneDrive. Another thing which they showed was a thing called the Delta Sync. We had some minor introductions to it, but it's getting now general available. And the Delta Sync is really okay if I have a really big file and if I change some small thing within it, that thing is only synchronized back to SharePoint, to the OneDrive. So for instance, they showed a really nice example for, they had a big Photoshop file which was 700 megabytes, and they changed a logo from the top right to the top left, bottom left. And only that change was synchronized back to OneDrive. So it was really a snap of a few seconds, which, yeah, the new file was uploaded to OneDrive. And I think this could be a really great thing for maybe the construction sector, for instance, where they have big files and they make small changes to it. Yeah, I think it could really help in those kind of scenarios too. So, really nice addition. Another topic, of course, was something around development. There will be some announcements around creating custom forms within document libraries. So we had already that you could create a Power Apps form for a list, but you could also do that now for the document libraries. We weren't able to do that till now, so that's a really nice addition if you want to have some custom forms or maybe leave away some metadata within the new creation form or in the edit form. You could really do that now also for the document libraries, so that's a really nice addition. They also showed some color formatting additions where in the past you had to create JSON files for it. You could now color format, for instance, a status column with nice colors, etc., just like you would do in Excel. So that's really no code at the moment, so that's a really nice additions. They also called something out around the SharePoint framework. They are looking into making that more broader product. So they want to use the knowledge and the methodologies used within the SharePoint framework for a broader thing within the whole Microsoft 365 suite. So for instance, they are looking into creating Outlook add-ins using the SharePoint framework, and they're looking into a new name, but that wasn't really introduced yet, so we're still waiting for that. But I think there are really going to be some new developer additions around that too. Another really nice thing was in Excel, they call it Office scripts. It's introduced now only in Excel first, Later on it could be also added to Word or PowerPoint. Office scripts are really around the old days where we had macros, where you could just record your steps, what you were doing in Excel. With that recording it will create a script, and it's actually a JavaScript which you can also adjust or make additions to it. So if you're good at writing JavaScript, you could also make it or adjust it to your needs. With this, you could also put those scripts within a flow, for instance. So there are new flow actions to incorporate those steps. So for instance, if you have a document library where you export that document library into an Excel, and you want to make some formatting to it, you may want to create other names for the columns, for instance, or do some steps which makes the Excel more usable for your end users, then you could add a flow to it, so it would create those steps for you if you export that document and put it, for instance, in a library. With this you could really create some new ways in formatting your Excel file with the scripts, and I think it's a really nice addition. And yeah, I was thinking about some scenarios for customers. I think, yeah, that could be really handy. So yeah, nice additions. Last but not least, there were some announcements around compliancy and security. So within SharePoint, we already have labels, but there's nothing really behind it yet. And today announced is that we get the sensitivity labels with the information protection covered by Azure. So if you have a site, a container, it could be a Teams container or it could be a site container, you could add a sensitivity label to it, and all the information in it will have then that compliancy rules, policies behind it. So that's a really nice addition. The second announcement was around information barriers. Information barriers is around separating groups of people in order to don't let them communicate or collaborate with each other. So for instance, if you're in Microsoft Teams or in Microsoft SharePoint and you want to share a file with someone, and you have two separate teams working on something but may not communicate with each other because there are two teams in a bid, or you can have certain scenarios for that in your company. It could also be around, for instance, for in education, if you have students and the teachers where they may not communicate with each other. You could create information barriers for it. We already had information barriers in Teams, but we also now get it within SharePoint.